Hello CGS 1570 students. I hope the course so far has been going well for you. Now that we've finished Concepts and Windows 10, it's time to start learning the Microsoft Office portion of this course. The setup for the Office training and assignments are a little different, and I wanted to go over them with you. Looking at the Word section under Modules, you'll see 4 subsections. There's SimBooks, Graded Projects, SimPaths, and then the exam. Notice there's not a practice exam available in the Microsoft Office topics. The SimBooks section are the digital version of your book. In Word, there are 4 chapters. Let's take a look at the SimBook for Chapter 1. On the main page, you'll see the student learning outcomes. You'll want to review each one of these pages. On each page, you'll see some information, and then there'll be a green Let Me Try button. You'll want to complete each green Let Me Try button on each page. You may notice that there are some pages that do not have a green Let Me Try button. As you page through the SimBook, you'll notice some pages titled Pause and Practice. These are optional. You do not have to complete these pages. Once you get to the chapter summary, you are finished with the training, and you can stop here within the SimBook chapter. You do not have to complete any multiple choice, matching, or short answer questions. Also, it's important to not complete the projects straight from the SimBook. Only complete the assignment projects from the graded project section within Canvas. You are more than welcome to give these projects a try on your own, but they are not part of any graded assignment. Once you complete a SimBook chapter in Word, it is a good idea to then work to complete a graded project for that chapter. A good workflow is to complete the SimBook for the chapter and then go ahead and complete the respective project for that chapter. Let's take a look at the first Word project. There are 3 sections on the project page. The first section is the Download section. This is the section where you'll download all the files you need to complete the assignment. For your first project, read the best practices. You'll likely get a prompt forcing you to state that you have read the best practices. These top bullets provide some important instructions for you to follow. The next link is the solution file. I recommend you always take a look at the solution file when working on a project. This is how you want your file to look when you are finished with your project. Before submitting your project, you can compare your file to the solution file to see if you might have made any mistakes. The next download link is the instructions. Select the instructions that are appropriate for you. If you're on Windows, click Office for Windows. If you're on Mac, click Office for Mac. Here you'll see the project steps that you need to complete. Let's take a look at steps 1 and 2. The first step says to open up the Start file, and if it opens in Protected View, click the Enable Editing button. And the second step says the file will be renamed automatically to include your name. Change the project file name if directed to do so by your instructor, and save it. You do not need to change the project file name. Here in the instruction files, everything that is in red in text is text that you'll need to type. All of the other instructions will be settings that you'll select within the Office application. Finally, you'll need to download the Start file. Because we're in Word, this file will be a Word file. Clicking the file will open it in Word. Be sure to click Enable Editing so you can edit the file. This will be the file where you'll follow the instructions downloaded. So for example, let's take a look at the third step in the instructions. Apply the following formatting changes to the entire document. Step 3A, select the entire document. Step 3B, change before and after paragraph spacing to 0. So I will select the entire document, open up the paragraph dialog, and set the before and after spacing to 0. Once you've completed all the steps, then it's time to submit your file to CIBNET for grading. Take special note of where you saved your file on your computer. Selecting File will take you to the Backstage view. Here you'll see the file location. Here this file is in Users, Peking, Downloads folder. And the name of the file is up here at the top. Sometimes you might have a lot of files within your Downloads folder, so it can be a good idea to save your file to a new location. You can select Save As, and then put the file in a different location, such as My Documents. Once you're ready to submit your project, you can go to Step 2 to save the file to CIBNET. Select Upload My File, and then navigate to where you saved your file. Once uploaded, you have two choices. If you're still working on your file and not ready for it to be graded, you can select No, I'm not ready. If you've completed all the instructions in the assignment and you're ready for grading, you can say Yes, submit the file. Once you've submitted your file, you will then immediately see your grade. Here is a good time to review the steps that you missed and go back to your file and make corrections. Then you can resubmit one more time to try to improve your grade. It's important to understand this notice here. It says, notice, the image below is not the file you submitted. This is a representation of the solution file. Meaning this isn't an image of what you submitted. It's just sort of a template to point you in the right spot of your file to try to make corrections. After submitting your first attempt, please feel free to contact me and ask me any questions before you make your second attempt, so I can help you with any of these steps that you missed. Once you've completed all the SimBooks and the projects, then it's a good idea to take a look at the SimPaths. The SimPaths are a good study tool in preparation for taking the exam. In a SimPath, you have three options. You can take a pretest, and then after you finish the pretest, the lesson portion will only show items on topics that you've missed. Or you could skip the pretest and take the lesson, and then go straight to the post-test. Or you can skip the lesson and just take the post-test. My suggestion is to skip the pretest and then take the lesson. Then, after you've reviewed the material in the lesson, you can take the post-test. If you're able to do well on the SimPath post-test, then you'll likely do well on the exams. Completing the SimPaths are entirely optional. They are posted here to help you study for the exams. You do not have to complete the SimPaths if you do not want. And then finally, you have your exam. The exam section works much like the exams that you've already taken. If you have any questions, please let me know.